So this is another Gran-Gran Cauldron deck, although it didn't really start that way. We've had a few conversations about Buried Alive plus Cauldron since we've discovered Fatestitcher as like really interesting tech for Cauldron. Um, if you have 4 mana and you have a Cauldron and play with Buried Alive, you can Buried Alive for Fatestitcher, Asmodeus, Skirge Familiar, and then go Unearth Fatestitcher, Cauldron, Asmodeus, or Familiar onto the Fatestitcher, untap the Cauldron, and do it again. And this will allow you to go discard 3 cards, spend 3 black mana to draw 7, and then you can discard 3 cards to draw 7 more. Keep doing that till you have enough mana to Walking Ballista, or you can sometimes Cauldron Psychic Frog Ballista. Um, Now, if you don't have 3 cards in your hand to start the loop, you can get Griselbrand instead, and you get Skirge Familiar Griselbrand, and then you get to go like draw 14, and then have 14 black mana to play with to try to win the game. A lot of times, this involves going Necrotic Ooze plus Buried Alive to get Asmodeus in the graveyard. That can be part of it, but you can also go Buried Alive for the Psychic Frog at that point too to have enough counters to discard to Ballista instead of having to spend 2 mana for a counter. It's just 1 mana, or I guess it's like discard 1 card, get a mana, get a counter, and you can also use that mana to activate Ballista. So you usually have plenty to kill with Ballista. I guess Skirge Familiar, not a very common card. A card I've been wanting to have in a deck for a long time. I think this is the first time we've ever done it. Just discard a card, add a black, 5 mana, 3/2. The black VIVI. So very cool build. Now, and then once like those were the combos I was trying to build around, we're a Cauldron Gran-Gran deck that is already wanting to play blue for Fatestitcher, is playing Psychic Frog. We want to play 4 Fatestitchers, I think, just a Gran-Gran combo with the Fatestitcher, how we've been doing. So yeah, let's get in there, update the title and Muxfield everything. Oh yeah, so as far as the sideboard goes, the sideboard's good to talk about here too. Our sideboard is 3 Hurkyls recalls for affinity, because we don't want to be the affinity is kind of like the one fair matchup that we don't want to be siding out of the combo. Against is Kiki Grimgren any good? Okay, I don't know what Grimgren is. Okay, but I might be wrong. Okay, so against like Jeskai, Boros, I think Prowess, decks that have like lots of cheap removal and are going to side in a lot of graveyard hate. The plan is to cut parts of the combo in order to get these full 12 cards in here. So I believe that we are wanting to leave in we want to cut the Necrotic Oozes, we want to cut the Sheoldred, and then I'm like a little bit unsure exactly what the full side plan out. I think you could also cut the Buried Alive. Was this the whole plan? I think this was actually the whole plan. Yeah. You cut the Buried Alives, just like all of the big black cards, and then your Greedy Freebooters. You're also playing Phyrexian Tower Greedy Freebooter to like ramp into. I guess I forgot to mention that. This gives you like 4 mana to like ramp easier into the Necrotic Ooze stuff. Supplier also gives you a density of things to sack the Phyrexian Tower while also helping you sometimes randomly fill the yard. And then this allows you to still have access to Gran-Gran Fatestitcher combo post board, but this combo is like much lower to the ground, kind of easier to assemble, better against like the lightning bolts, better against the removal, all that. And then you get to also side into Bowmaster, Airship, Thoughtseize, and then you get to bring in just Thoughtseize against linear decks, but you get to stay a combo deck against the linear decks like Tron and Titan and Storm and stuff, just with Thoughtseizes. Sand is very good if we can find a Cauldron or a Necrotic Ooze. I think let's try it. Kind of an exciting kind of hand to keep, huh? Hope Affinity isn't still just main decking infinite orbs, huh? I guess let's hold the Takenuma to channel instead of trying to save the Flooded Strand to surveil with. And then I would rather the Stitcher Supplier get rebuked than the Freebooter, since I think the surveil is pretty valuable. We do mill over a Griselbrand. Would Intuition be too good for Modern? Probably not. Kind of can't imagine it would. They've got a Saga. And we spike the Cauldron off the top. I mean, I think they just don't have Rebuke up. I think we should be playing the Cauldron. And then now we can go discard Fatestitcher, Skirge Familiar at the very least. Also probably the Asmodeus. Thought Intuition is reserve list. Yeah, I don't know. If it is legal, I do not think it would be very good. Is the only claim I'm making. Yeah, maybe it's possible I want to cast the Skirge Familiar if they like play a Tormod's Crypt this turn. I guess if I go Greedy Freebooter, Phyrexian Tower, I'm one short, but I would have enough mana to go Griselbrand at least. So it looks like we're gonna have a turn 3 kill. Maybe one downside to not having discarded the second Skirge Familiar is they might like sometimes when they play like a Soul Guide Lantern or they play a Tormod's Crypt and they just don't crack it, you can go Unearth Fatestitcher, and then I guess we could just still do that. We can go Unearth Fatestitcher, target the Tormod's Crypt, and then we can Cauldron the Skirge Familiar if they respond. But this is only if they play Tormod's Crypt main phase and then they don't crack it. I guess if they did crack it main phase, we could play Buried Alive or just Hardcast Sheoldred. Although Hardcast Sheoldred does not win me the game because I won't be able to make any mana off of my cards. They do play the Tormod's Crypt, and then they pass. Okay, great. So let's go ahead and do this cool play. This is maybe my favorite play to make right now. So we go Unearth the Fatestitcher. And then they respond by targeting my graveyard, but it doesn't matter because we Cauldron the Familiar. Okay, and then with this hand, let's go ahead and go cast the Sheoldred before we Griselbrand. We don't need to worry about Asmodeus if we do that. We can also pay for Rebuke. So draw 7. Maybe they sync. Yeah, they don't have sync. Draw 7. This is turn 3, by the way. Through a Tormod's Crypt. Although they messed up with it. Although it's an easy mistake for them to make. So what is it possible that trying to cast a big ballista is a losing play? Is it what we could do instead is we can cast a Necrotic Ooze and then we can discard a Psychic Frog so that the Necrotic Ooze is able to get the Ballista's ability. I think that's going to be the safest way to play around something like a Sync, which just is a card they have in their deck, although it's not actually one they can cast here. It's also maybe just faster. Oh, sorry, I should have discarded a frog to the Supplier. So I guess this is -1 counter, although that shouldn't matter very much. So I'll just discard the Ballista to show them we have access to this, and then we'll just discard 20 cards. Easy. To the make a counter, not to make a mana. Not a bad third turn. Too many abilities. I'm probably just imagining things. I feel like the discard ability jumped up a spot. Maybe it did when I added a new card to the graveyard. Okay, so hold priority, remove a counter, deal damage, save targets. It did move, okay. Wasn't sure. Yeah, the way Fatestitchers let you like play through Tormod's Crypts is so cool to me. Okay, so we're up a game against Affinity now, and this matchup we don't want to be boarding into the airships because they're not very good. Although Bowmasters are really good against Affinity. I don't know if we have room for them though. Maybe they're better than the Greedy Freebooters. Not sure. Maybe the Bowmasters aren't all that good against them these days. They're kind of cutting a lot of thought casts. Let's just do this. Get me to the bathroom real quick. Okay, on the draw for game 2 against Affinity, let's mulligan this one. A lot of pieces, missing like a Phyrexian Tower. Okay, very tough to say no. I guess we say no to the Familiar, and then we can use the Griselbrand cards from the Ooze to draw into stuff. Obviously, we have a Hurkyl's Recall, which is good. It's not always that good against Affinity, though. It kind of depends on how their draw is. Bleeding on a Breeding Pool. And green mana. Okay, not green mana. Tamiyo. Yeah, just flipping Tamiyo turn 2 is pretty good against my hand. Don't hate drawing the Buried Alive. Yeah. Gonna be a tough game too. We'll play it out, but we're probably gonna have to settle this in game 3. Yeah, we need mana so badly. Okay. That can make mana. So best draw is now a Phyrexian Tower so that we can play, just cast Necrotic Ooze next turn, and then we would have 5 mana total to go just Hurkyl's Recall, Buried Alive, win the game. And we would have to do that before they ultimate this Tamiyo, of course. So now, obviously, I don't want to just cast Buried Alive into this Urza Saga. Although the Skirge Familiar is very interesting, Mill. I shouldn't have Sewers main phase. I think I was getting a little impatient here. But in theory, I guess we would be just short of going Necrotic Ooze, activate Familiar, cast Buried Alive for the win. We're just not gonna have enough mana for that. They get a Mox Amber though. So I do think Phyrexian Tower can still win me the game. If that's exactly my top deck. Yeah, just oopsie attacking I think could have worked too. So we're gonna stop them from holding up, rebuke here. Sure. I guess another dispute doesn't really do anything. So Phyrexian Tower is a win, otherwise we go to game 3. Yep. Nice. Yeah, Tamiyo definitely good against my mulligan to 5, just with the recall there. Alright, game 3. I do like that Hurkyl's Recall a lot of times is going to stop them from being able to hold up Rebuke if like that's their plan too. Do you think this is the best Necrotic Ooze deck we've ever built? Although the bar there is kind of low against. Yeah, we've gone off a couple times, including this match. Last time we played Necrotic Ooze was in 2021, and this is not Necrotic Ooze. That's Scavenging Ooze and Pioneer. Maybe it was Modern. Been a little while. All right, I'm gonna keep this. Want to save this Delta to maybe Surveil. We do mill over an Asmodeus and Ballista, which is pretty cool. Can I describe the combo? Yeah, so the idea is you're going to draw a lot of cards with either a Griselbrand or an Asmodeus, and then you're going to use that mana to win the game with Ballista, or sometimes just making a big frog if your Ballista's Exile or something, or like Creatures with Frog's ability. And what's fun too is so the idea is that you can go, if you have Cauldron, you can go Buried Alive for Fatestitcher, Skirge Familiar, and either Asmodeus or Griselbrand, and then you can go Unearth Fatestitcher, Cauldron, one of the two, unearth untap the Cauldron, Cauldron the other. I think that dynamic is really fun. Yeah, I'll go ahead and play a Cauldron into a Rebuke here since we have two Cauldrons. Not really that interested in recalling next turn. And so there's a few more stuff too. Like, so if you're going up with Griselbrand, Skirge Familiar, a lot of times you can make it. Oh, they have Haywire Might. That's a big problem. So like we have to wait until we can go off all at once, I guess. You can make enough mana to Buried Alive for your Asmodeus, so you can draw cards without losing life, if that's the problem, or you can draw into your one of Sheoldred and cast that, which we did do earlier today. So they don't have green mana at the moment. They graveyard a Mox Amber. Okay, there's green mana. Is there a world where you play Persist? No, there's too many legends for Persist. There's a world where we play Goryo's. Just recall in their incept. No, the problem is we won't have Familiar and the Necrotic Ooze to go off with the Asmodeus next turn. But I think we're okay to just be chilling for at least a little bit. Although, no, this build of Affinity is like so much more interactive. Maybe it's possible my recall plan is just not even good against them. I think I do need to try to cast the recall now because they've got the needle, so my Scalding Tarn's going to be not in good shape anyways. Or so my Cauldron's not going to be in good shape anyways. Okay, interesting. Okay, the Frog is really nice, so I can discard the Skirge Familiar. So even if I don't draw anything next turn, hold on, maybe I don't have enough cards in my hand. We'll see. We'll see. Persist the Ooze, maybe the change up in the creature package somehow. I don't think it's really super possible without legendary creatures. Persist Ooze could be good. I agree. Am I missing on something how Cauldron works with Ooze? Ooze is just like it's Cauldron's everything when it comes down without allowing for response. The combo isn't Cauldron with Ooze. Ooze is just like extra Cauldrons. Alright, so they have 3 cards in their hand. They target the needle. Will they needle Frog or will they needle Cauldron? Needling Frog doesn't make that much sense if you don't have a blocker. They do needle Frog. Maybe I was supposed to discard the Familiar in response, but I have the Hurkyl's Recall to get the needle off the field anyways, so not overly worried, I guess. That's an interesting pickup. Let's go ahead and attack first. I'm totally happy if they chump block with the Haywire Might, of course. Drawing a land off the Frog would be good too. And the Cauldron, I can Cauldron the Haywire Might potentially if they do block like this. All right, they make no blocks, and they're going to take. Oh, they have something. Oh, sorry, chat. I didn't realize they had Delirium. Obviously, I should have. I think it's probably not a very winnable game anyways. Bummer. I don't know. I know that there are some people who have a hard time going into a match without their emotional support removal spells, but I don't think that this is a deck like this actually this might be a turn 2 win this game right here. Maybe we're a little short, but like we're a turn 3 combo deck. You don't need to play Fatal Push in your turn 3 combo deck. It's possible that like they make more sense than the Thoughtseizes for the sideboard plan. Okay, so I drew the Griselbrand. So it looks like I'm going to be able to Cauldron a Psychic Frog here and then win next turn. If I had somehow 2 more cards in my hand, which I don't think is not really possible um, with this curve or whatever, but if I did, I could cast the Buried Alive, which is fun. All right, your turn. I like turn 3 Buried Alive for turn 4 Bear Rights. Well, you can't get rights off the Buried Alive, right? You can only get creatures. So we're in a spot where if my opponent does have like a random Static Prison, they're still in bad shape. Gonna be dead. All right. So we have the turn 3 win on the play against Boros here. Let's go ahead and Cauldron the Skirge Familiar. And then we draw. I guess we'll be fine. We'll be fine. So we're gonna play the Necrotic Ooze so we get Asmodeus' ability so we can keep drawing cards. And then we'll be able to Ballista them. Or I guess I'll just attack with the frog. I mean they're super dead. You could do the priest though. That's true. You could, yeah. Pretty slow plan. Okay, so let's do our sideboard plan, transformative sideboard, as advertised. So we remove these down to tutor targets instead of stuff we're trying to mill over with the suppliers. Then we also cut the suppliers. And the Fatestitcher also goes down to just 1 Buried Alive target, and then click submit. Can you exile the frog ability with Asmo? Add the cards back with this 1 cost ability. Exile the frog. I don't believe that works. I believe that your abilities have to always be tied to whatever is activating them, or like if an ability returns cards exiled with this creature, it refers to like the abilities on the creature, not the other abilities you get with Cauldron. It's like the same thing with Frog Emperor of Bones. I don't think I'm explaining it very well, but my understanding is no, that doesn't work. So they have 2 Celestial Purges and a Flage. I guess we'll take a Purge. Nice to have the Cauldron for Flage, of course. And then let's just go ahead and play 2 Greedy Freebooters. It's possible they'll Purge 1. It's possible they'll Flage 1. I'm kind of happy with either outcome. So the exile being a cost makes it not work. No, it's more of the... That's just... Even though it says exiled with this creature, that's not what it literally means in the rules. That's my kind of general understanding. They're not going to target a freebooter, are they? I mean, like, okay, awesome, great. So I do... Okay, I guess thankfully I don't draw a... I don't draw a land, so I don't get got by the Flage Escape. So they have a Celestial Purge. We've got some mystery cards over there. There's a Voice of Victory, which we can make our Greedy Freebooter big enough to block. We don't want to play the Airship into the known Celestial Purge, so we'll have to offer our frog up as a sacrifice. They do not purge the frog end of turn. Does this mean they have Wrath Disguise? Okay, now they purge the frog. Probably means they just don't have much of anything and they could cast almost anything they top deck. I guess I'm a little surprised to see this attack. Let's double block. Cauldron really strong. 2 mana, add a counter to something each turn. What is this? Okay, Thraben Charm my Greedy Freebooter to deal 6 damage here. Okay. So we still get to save our other Greedy Freebooter. And then we get a treasure token we get to scry. Yes, let's keep this, because this wins the game. I'm sorry, Phoenix Fleet Airship. We'll cast you some tomorrow. Very funny that they use this Thraben Charm this way when I'm about to cast Buried Alive. Although I guess they could have now a discharge off the strand. We're still going to go for it here. So we get Fatestitcher, Griselbrand, and then Skirge Familiar. I guess it doesn't definitely win the game. That's okay, though. Unearth the Fatestitcher. And then I'm going to Cauldron the Griselbrand onto the Greedy Freebooter, although they don't have anything. It doesn't really matter. We would get a counter off the Cauldron untap here, so I was thinking that this would maybe sneakily be able... They would maybe discharge the Freebooter in response. And then we would still be able to win by getting both abilities on the Fatestitcher. I guess it's probably just the right way to do it anyways. Yeah, so it looks like I am not going to be able to activate the Griselbrand again. I have sacked a treasure token, can sack another treasure token. Let me attack for 3. Didn't have enough cards in my hand to go for the Asmodeus line. So it seems free to sack this Fatestitcher. Then let's go discard land, cast the Airship. We're going to get 2 Airship triggers. I want to cast a Bowmaster so I can crew the Airship on defense, potentially. Let's discard the Thoughtseize. Let's discard the Ballista. Cast another Bowmaster. I could discard this Airship to cast another Bowmaster so I don't take any damage from the voice. I think that's probably a bit of a spew. They get a tap land, 2 cards in their hand. Johnny. Is their last card Bombardment? Not sure if I'd be dead to it if it was. Be pretty close. In this spot, we do get to Bowmaster the Ajani. And then if they flip it, we can kill it with an Airship. So I'm going to crew with the Orc army, then I'm going to sack it to the Cauldron, and then we get another token to crew with. They do flip the Ajani, which is a bit surprising. I'm going to go and cast my other Airship while we have the mana floating. We'll kill the Ajani and then concede. Okay, so fast 2-0 over Boros. That was looking pretty good. Turn 3 win into the sideboard plan taking over. Kind of how we wrote it up there. Mulligan. We're going to put back the Cauldron here. Opponent's on a multi-6. No, I'm on a multi-6. They're just still thinking. I guess I'll put this up real quick, just in case. Yeah, I am planning on streaming tomorrow. And then taking Christmas off. And then back for Friday normal challenge. And then Saturday, Sunday going to be long streams too. So very busy week. I think I might take Monday off if the Queue for Charity goes really, really long, which I'm expecting it to. But it'll all kind of depend. Magic Online, Daybreak Games, if you can hear me. Add the rope to Magic Online, something. I'm not surprised. I'm disappointed this deck is playing Asmo as an Asmodeus, not Asmo Randomized in a Kuldakar. Yeah, it is. People have abbreviated Asmodeus a couple times as Asmo, and it's been confusing. All right, so we mill a Greedy Freebooter and a Stitcher Supplier. So the plan is going to be to play the Cauldron next turn, and then potentially hoping to draw land for the hardcast Necrotic Ooze, potentially hoping to draw a cheap creature and just sacking Supplier to mill over something good. Potentially hoping to find Buried Alive. A lot of good top decks here. After a minute and a half, my opponent decides to play a Flagstones and an Aether Vial, a wise decision. Then they pass the turn. We draw another Necrotic Ooze, which is a pretty bad top deck, to be honest. Maybe getting in for an extra damage is relevant, maybe not. Seems like another transformative sideboard matchup. Ticking up the Aether Vial. Plays a Gonjo. Then they're going to White Orchid Phantom my Phyrexian Tower, which is pretty good here. Oh, they don't target my tower. That's pretty good for me. Let's go ahead and grow the Supplier, I guess. So we draw Griselbrand. It would have been nice to have milled Griselbrand over for turn here with the Supplier, although I don't know. I guess we don't really have anything to cast off the tower, so we can't sack the Supplier yet anyways. If we milled over a Fatestitcher, we could win the game, though. I guess we'd have to mill over Fatestitcher plus Discard Outlet or something else. So I think we just attack. Top deck's not super kind to us this game. You know, maybe, I don't know, maybe we are going to run out of windows if we don't try to build a Fatestitcher right now. Like, I think it's kind of likely that they'll have another White Orchid Phantom or Ephemerate or like kind of any amount of good taxing interaction. And we brick pretty hard. Although my hand is just kind of like so non-functional. I don't know. I feel kind of okay about just kind of going for it and then moving on if we miss. Move into the transformative sideboard plan. Maybe I'm getting too impatient against a very slow Death and Taxes player. But to game 2 we go. Yeah, Skirge Familiar came in one of the Modern Horizon sets. Can't remember which one. It's been like a... I think this is the first time we're playing it. We can check the Mox field real quick. Yeah, this is the first time we're actually playing it. I have had a lot of brews with it off stream, I guess, that have never quite made the cut. Usually revolving around Griselbrand, Sheoldred. You know, just draw a lot of cards, use the Familiar to cast the Sheoldred, Cauldron. But I do think that this like Buried Alive plan, and then you get Asmodeus to like finish going through your deck really was like the missing piece. All right, opponent finishes sideboarding. We're on the play. Let's keep this 7 on the play. Kind of a weird hand, maybe, with like the natty Sheoldred. Maybe not that weird. It's Graveyard's second freebooter since we don't have a Phyrexian Tower. Another turn 1 Aether Vial, this time off of a Witch Enchanter. Witch Enchanter might mean that their hand is Landlight. Takes the Vial up to 2. Do they have a land number 2? They have Vial number 2 instead. They might get buried underneath Double Frog. They might have Solitude. They're thinking here, so I think they are almost definitely going to have a Solitude, and they're thinking about which to pitch. I don't think they're thinking about which land to play, and I don't think they're thinking about what to Vial in. Would love to be wrong about that, I guess. Let's see if I'm wrong. Okay, good to be wrong. So we could play the Asmodeus in the hopes that we find a land and they have nothing. And we could just pay 3 mana, draw 7 cards. That being said, I think hoping my opponent has nothing is not the best strategy here. Although, admittedly, this line is worse into Solitude Ephemerate by a pretty big margin. Aether Vial number 3. Aether Vial number 3. My Kingdom for a Pithing Needle. So they don't draw step White Orchid Phantom me. Let's go to combat. If they were gonna Phantom me, they should have done it already, so I don't think I'm supposed to try to like play for their mistakes here, if that makes sense. A little bit scared of a Sanctifier. They do Violent a 2-drop. A Sun Cleanser. Okay. Sun Cleanser against Psychic Frog stops it from getting counters. Kind of never seen this tech before. It's not too bad. Kind of interesting against the Cauldron stuff too. Would love to draw a land. I'm not even going to say a Phyrexian Tower. No, that doesn't work, Lurk. The abilities are tied together, apparently. So we could Cauldron Ballista and get that going here. We'd also go Thoughtseize, Greedy Freebooter. Cauldron from Ballista seems pretty nice. Did I try pre-modern at all? I didn't. I don't know. Maybe one day, but still haven't got around to it. Okay, my opponent's got 5 cards in hand, 1 Aether Vial on 1 up. No mana available. I discard a Walking Ballista. I'm going to Cauldron the Ballista now so that they can't stop me from having this combo available on their turn if they untap and they can vial something in like a Skyclave. I can still do some pinging. Can you put counters on Frog? Not this Frog, I can on this one. Okay, so now they evoke Solitude. Which is not the right time for them to evoke Solitude because I have this under the Cauldron now. It's kind of like my own Solitude, right? It's costing me 3 cards instead of 1 here. Or 3 cards instead of 2. So we can still call a Frog Ballista by discarding more cards. They are going to draw up to 4 cards in their hand. They're going to take all these Aether Vials up, I imagine. If we draw a land, we can Cauldron the Asmodeus, and then we can draw 7 cards, and then... So we'll draw a land, play a land, 7 cards, we'll have 11 in our hands. We can then attack for 11 in the air, and then Ballista them with the Frog down. That being said, my opponent probably has some stuff here. They draw their second land, probably not very helpful on this turn, unless they have, like, Rest in Peace. Then they pass. Okay, so looking for a land, maybe looking for love. Not land, but I do love this draw. It's actually, in some ways, better. So we'll discard the Griselbrand. Cauldron the Griselbrand, although... Maybe it's better to Thoughtseize first. So I guess I should have Thoughtseize first. Damn. Let's see what they got off the Aether Vial. Maybe another Sun Cleanser. Sun Cleanser would be pretty funny. Lion Sash is not funny. Lion Sash is serious here. So let's try to ping the Lion Sash. Yeah, so I would have gotten them here had I Thoughtseize, I guess. Wait, they left the Asmodeus in the yard. It's a pretty big deal. Can't pretend they just had double Sash in hand. Maybe we'll Thoughtseize them after we attack and find out probably. Could you use the Frog to exile Griselbrand to fizzle Lion Sash instead of discarding and pinging again? Yeah, I guess I suppose that would work, yeah. Wait, they have Extraction Specialist to get back Sun Cleanser, but instead of getting back Sun Cleanser, they get back the Sash, which I think is wrong. I think I'm gonna fly the Frog so I can ignore this for a turn, though. Very weird game. Everything about this game has been very odd. They don't have enough mana to remove the other demon. No, they did. They activated the Sash again, targeted my Griselbrand again. They should have targeted my Asmodeus again. Or Asmodeus for the first time. But I should have used the Frog and everything is weird. Okay, let's cast a Thoughtseize. Their last card is Felia. So I believe we're just going to discard the Freebooter, kill the Lion Sash, and try to go for the win next turn. But maybe I should keep the Greedy Freebooter. Okay, I'll keep this in case they top deck Graveyard Hate. But still kill the Sash here. Very weird game. Very weird game. A fun game. Extraction Specialist get back Lion Sash is pretty dang sick. Although I do think they should have got back the Sun Cleanser. Sun Cleanser would have really, really wrecked me here. Because what I can do next turn is I can Asmo draw 7 just by spending 3 mana. And then I can Fly the Frog, attack for 8, and then I can discard 8 cards. Or discard 8 cards, attack for I guess I discard 9 cards because I draw the strand. Discard 9 cards, attack for 10, ping that 10 times. Which is lethal against even the 17 life points, assuming my opponent did not top deck something relevant. They've top decked something relevant. They're vialing in something, a 3 mana spell, 3 mana creature. It's a Flicker Wisp, so maybe targeting the Extraction Specialist here. So this can get them back the Lion Sash again. Pretty good. Pretty good, pretty good. This turn cycle has been so interesting. Now maybe they end up getting the Sun Cleanser back instead. No, they do go for the Sash. And then they let me untap, which is interesting. So obviously a lot of interesting stuff on this board going on. So I could go discard Sheoldred to the Psychic Frog. Play, I guess discard Sheoldred and Flooded Strand, or activate the Flood. I guess I would rather discard the Flooded Strand. So discard Sheoldred. Then I ping the Lion Sash, or discard Sheoldred, then discard Flooded Strand. Ping the Lion Sash. They exile the Asmo in response. In response to that, I ping the Sash again. If they respond again, then I Cauldron. If they don't respond again, then I let the Sash die. Then I Cauldron. So I think that we can still do the Asmo thing here. Not the usual Asmo, Asmodeus, not Asmo random. I diced in a Kuldakar. Is there any viability to Devoted Druid? It allows Fatestitcher to untap Cauldron boundless times. I guess I don't understand how it does that, so let me know, I guess. Alright, so I ping the Sash. My first ever preview card still sucks. They catch you on the second discard. Well, if they respond to the second discard, then I ping and then I Cauldron, right? I guess they target Sheoldred in response. Okay, so I target, then they, yeah. I think this is still, I still need to target in response again. Oh, sorry, I could have just exiled the Sheoldred with the frog. No, right. Well, this still works though. Right, then they target the Asmo, then we Cauldron the Asmo. Counters here. This ability fizzles. This kills the Lion Sash. And then we spend 3 mana. We draw 7 cards. So I can attack for 9 in the air, putting them down to 8. And then I can ping them to death. You Cauldron the Druid on the Fatestitcher, untap the Fatestitcher using the counter, use the Fatestitcher to untap the Cauldron. What happens when you put the -1 count, when you activate the Devoted Druid's ability, the +1 counter goes away and you no longer have Devoted Druid's ability, right? And then putting the counter back on the Cauldron, you need like infinite creatures to exile. So, and then you're like not really accomplishing anything besides activating the Cauldron a bunch. I don't know. I see what you mean. You're getting more Cauldron activations to get more abilities, though. Oh, sorry, I forgot the Wisp does have flying. So I guess we don't get to quite win the game here, huh? Probably should have kept card or 2. Too busy talking about Devoted Druid Fatestitcher combo. It's lethal. You peeing with the draw. Oh, no, it's not. It's not lethal because we deal -1 damage on the combat, so they would go to 1. I obviously should have attacked before I killed the extraction specialist too. Hard to build a Fatestitcher deck and play this at the same time, huh? Well, it was best to kill the extractionist once I knew I couldn't do lethal. But yeah, pinging after we hit is also not lethal there. But yeah, this is lethal. We go to game 3. In the Rona version of Gran-Gran combo, did you consider any retraction helix? No, I think that plan is not very good. Okay. Game 3. It was lethal. No, they're going to 1 and you drew extra card, but you deal 1 less combat damage. So a +1 counter on a Psychic Frog is worth 2 damage when you're attacking with it, and you haven't dealt combat damage yet. If you remove a counter pre-combat, then hit them, then you get a counter. It's -1 damage total. Still gonna keep the transform to sideboard plan going to game 3. Yeah, this deck I think is pretty cool. We're definitely in really deep. Maybe a little too deep. Well, we're gonna try this one. Would love a Phyrexian Tower for the turn 2 airship. Haven't done that in a while. Another 7-card Aether Vial hand. I think I get basic swamp here. Maybe I get run out of basics a bit too easy. It's probably okay. I've been using Griselbrand and Mono Blue Gran-Gran combo. Yeah, we played Griselbrand in some of those shells too. I mostly don't think it has been that necessary though. 9-10, remove 1 to kill Fleckwist. 8-9. Hit them for 8 down to 9. Draw a card. 9-10. No, but it's a 9-10, but it has 8 counters on it because 1 power is coming from the base power toughness. I'm just gonna not risk them killing this in combat. Frog seems okay here. That's the first giver runes I've seen in quite a long time. They attack with giver runes, which is also kind of surprising. I do think I want to play the Bowmaster and crew both airships. If their last cards are Solitude Ephemerate white card, I guess we get got. It really doesn't seem like that's their hand though. It's so much looting and not enough card draw. It's interesting. I wonder if Quantum Riddler would be better. Don't know why. Okay, or you're not playing Urza Saga. I think you do want to play Urza Saga for like plan B and also finding your pieces in this stack. I know that it can be kind of tough with the number of blue sources. Oh, Crystal Skull. I was playing Crystal Skull. I thought this card was great in the deck. I agree card draw is kind of the issue. So let's not play the Bowmaster so that we can I guess we could just crew with the frog. Thought on sack army to towered army, play second Bowmasters to get 2 more ships. That's not how ship works. If you've sacrificed 1 permanent, each ship gives you a copy. You don't get a copy for each time you've sacrificed something. If that's what you're thinking. All right, I'm ready to get settled the wreckage here. Yeah. Being able to crew with Orc Army, sack, and then make a new army crew with it. It's kind of similar to some of the Young Wolf, like crew, sack, crew again. All right, they got a Felia. Does not block any of my airships. Yeah, it would be a very flavorful Settle the Wreckage. That's true. Okay, 2-1. I just want to show off what that deck is capable of doing a little bit more because I just do think it's so good, and I think it needs a little bit more of a spotlight on it. And I did end up adding the 4th Flare of Cultivation because that the deck is just, you just have so many ways to turn 2 Airship alongside Flare, Grazer, Phyrexian Tower. I think leaning into that while also having infinite combos is really good. Okay, my opponent is on the draw and they are on a multi-5. We're gonna go and get a basic swamp and cast a Stitcher Supplier here. Hope we mill something relevant. We mill a Necrotic Ooze, a Cauldron, and a Stitcher Supplier. I guess those aren't particularly relevant. There's a Tamiyo. Now we draw Phyrexian Tower. So this is going to let me set up for the win next turn off of the Cauldron, potentially. Let's see what we mill off the... Okay, we do mill a Ballista, which is a little bit relevant, although you find it eventually in your combo. So we're going to get Fatestitcher, and then so I go land. I do have 3. I can go for Asmo plus Skirge Familiar instead, because I could discard Skirge Familiar, Necrotic Ooze, and then whenever I draw for turn for the deterministic loop here. So they play a Nurza Saga. I love that our board right now is Phyrexian Tower Swamp, and we're gonna win next turn. An average Wednesday on twitch.tv/aspiring spike. Don't play the Greedy Freebooter because we need the cards in hand. All right, so play Cauldron, Fatestitcher, Cauldron, Skirge Familiar onto Fatestitcher, untap the Cauldron, Cauldron Asmodeus. Then we discard our hand to make 3 mana, and then we use that 3 mana to draw 7 cards. And then we can keep doing that as we filter through our deck. So our Griselbrand is in the yard, so we're going to need to Necrotic Ooze Psychic Frog, which is we just need to discard 4 cards, cast a Necrotic Ooze, then discard 20 or 18 cards, 16 because we already have 2 counters here. It's Tuesday. Wait, is it really Tuesday? Okay, well, the deck went well. Okay, so this kind of Tamiyo Steel Cutter build, the Hurkyl's recalls are, I don't actually think they're all that good against them. It's kind of weird. Because they're an artifact deck, but it's the recalls I wanted to have against more traditional Kappa Cannoneer affinity. They're the recalls are not very good against the Tamiyos, the Steel Cutter tokens, the Emrys. They're very counterspell heavy draw, and I think that's a big part of the reason why we lost round 1. So maybe we do something we do transformative combo because they have so many they have so much counter magic and they have so much graveyard hate post board, and then they also have a lot of card draw, so the Bowmasters are good. But we instead of bringing in all the Thoughtseizes, we play an extra recall. Or sorry, we play 3 recalls and just 1 Thoughtseize. I think this looks kind of good. I'm definitely liking all in combo game 1 pivot into interaction / value cards game 2, or all in game 1, interaction value game 2. If any of these 3 towers is just a regular land, we're pretty happy to keep, but I think we should mulligan because we can't cast the frog. And we'll put back our Greedy Freebooter. We're on the draw against an opponent who has kept 7 on the play. Turn 1 Tamiyo and a Mishra's Bauble. So it seems like my Bowmaster is not going to quite be able to get rid of the Tamiyo if they just try to flip it turn 2. Draw Asmodeus. Although, honestly, a Phyrexian Tower Greedy Freebooter, we might just hardcast this, which would be really fun. They play a Frog. Are they going to flip the Tamiyo here? Instead of flipping Tamiyo, they play Imri. There's a Grafdigger's Cage, which actually doesn't do almost anything against my deck aside from stopping Fatestitcher. And they don't play around Bowmaster very well, thankfully. So we're going to be able to... I guess we attack with the Freebooter, and if they block, we'll Bowmaster the Imri. They're not going to block, though. They are going to get to play something off the Imri. I hope it's a Grafdigger's Cage. And not like Needle on Cauldron, I guess. They could also have Metallic Rebuke, which would be not so good, but we need to play the Bowmaster now so that we can kill the Imri with it. So maybe they're thinking about sacking the Clue token. Yeah, Cage stops Fatestitcher Unearth, I believe. Although, does it? Does Fate? It doesn't go to exile first. So I think it just stops Fatestitcher. They targeted the Mox Opal from the yard, which is an interesting choice. It also stops their own Emeries. Okay, let's just see if we mill randomly our Griselbrand. Obviously, that's not very likely to happen since we cited out 3 of them, but I think we might as well just check if it's there, right? So it's good that the Needle is gone so they can't Needle Frog or Cauldron. I mean, I guess it's possible they play 2 Needles. They heat my Bowmaster end of turn. So I guess they didn't have that in their hand. Wait, when did they draw this? Okay, they also have Flame. All right, let's go to game 3. Flame does make me a little bit more scared of the sideboard plan. It's probably okay. This is definitely a grindy sideboard game. What's the major function of Fatestitcher? Just untap Cauldron. Well, that, and then when you buried alive for it, you can Buried Alive for Fatestitcher, Familiar, and then one of the demons, and then you can Cauldron the draw ability on the Fatestitcher, whichever one you need, untap the Cauldron, and then Cauldron the Skirge Familiar to use those cards to make mana and then win the game. All right, so turn 3 Airship with a Bowmaster. Definitely going to keep this, putting back basic island. Yeah, we had Gran-Gran in draft 1, but the problem was, like, I think the Stitcher Suppliers are like a really important part of this plan, and I think you just need to play like the 4 Griselbrand, 4 Skirge instead. Which is kind of good, I think, to be moving a little bit away from the Gran-Gran stuff. Because I do think that Gran-Gran Fatestitcher is just better off in the VIVI deck. I guess I don't want to F6 against a turn 1 Needle. There's an Amber. All right, sideboard. Transformative sideboard looking good. Could maybe main phase the Bowmaster. It's like kind of a disaster if it gets countered, and I don't really want them drawing cards in response, so yeah, sure. I think y'all wouldn't hold Bowmaster here, right? So we've got a Steel Cutter and then an Imri to trigger the Steel Cutter. The Imri does mill another copy of Steel Cutter. And then we get to slam our Airship. So we've got an Airship versus 2 Steel Cutters. Bowmaster in play to kind of stop the Tamio's Clues tokens from taking over the game, I guess. They've got one card in their hand, plus a possible Lantern draw, plus some Clue tokens, plus a Steel Cutter off the Tamio. And we've got 2 airships, potentially 2 more coming next turn. They've got another Urza Saga, or I guess an Urza Saga. This one was milled off the Emery. Is there a universe where we don't want to transform to sideboard against Affinity in hopes that Recall gets rid of the hate? That was my plan with playing the Recalls, but the problem is this build of Affinity with Tamio, Emery, Steel Cutter. I don't think the Recalls are very good against them compared to Kappa Cannoneer Affinity, which is the more popular deck, you know, Kappa Cannoneer Affinity, I think, but we haven't run into it lately, so maybe the tides are turning some. Would you consider Phantasmagorion over Narcomoeba? I don't know. I feel like the Narcomoeba is really good, so you can go turn 2 Cauldron, turn 3, just draw 7 off Griselbrand sometimes. The Phantasmagorion lets you get stuff out of your hand, which is okay. All right, so we're going to cast Fatestitcher here, everybody's favorite play. And I think I'm going to attack for 8. Let's see if this gets rebuked, then maybe I'll be wanting to play more defense. That would be their last card if it does get rebuked. So if I attack them for, yeah, I guess I don't really have any draws that allow me to. Yeah, I don't really have any draws that allow me to win the game next turn, getting aggressive. So it seems like I'm just going to need to try to become the Phoenix King. So they are top decking. We still have our Bowmaster in play. They have they lantern away my Fatestitcher. Not really any reason for them to do that right away. They could see what they draw, but it does seem like they probably just want something to play off the Emery, so they're probably going to do this anyway. It's not the biggest deal. Just in general, proper sequencing is see what you draw first. It would be totally fine also for them to like draw a card with the Lantern. Like I can't kill anything with a single ping. Although, I guess any creature is like I sack it to tower. It is pretty costly, I guess. They do have no cards in their hands, so we have a pretty comfortable block on one of these monk tokens. Although they do have 4 mana. It would be nice to draw a fetch land or a creature so I can keep Bowmaster in play. Not the biggest deal, though. Remember, Legend ruling the Phyrexian Towers does not satisfy the sacrifice clause on Phoenix Fleet Airship. Ooh, do I want to block Tamio? If I block Tamio, the thing is they're gonna draw 2 cards, and I think that's kind of the only way I lose this game is they draw 2 cards. Okay, it is really unlikely they draw a card into like a castable instant or sorcery. I guess I'll block the 3/3. Target Emery. Just to like punish them if they flip the Tamio here. Okay, now I have an orc army that I can sack to the tower. So yeah, I don't really love this decision on their part. Not the worst ever, of course. Let's go ahead and get in for 8. We might as well because we're gonna have a whole Phoenix Fleet army on defense. If this gets rebuked, doesn't really matter. Sorry, I guess I overspent there. I don't like this mana matters. Could maybe keep Flooded Strand just because it sacrifices something. I think we'll have we can sack like another airship to a tower next turn. We should be able to at least. I guess like their last card is Consign. They can keep me off of being the Phoenix King. No way, they topped at Consign. Okay, no, they didn't. Okay, so we trigger Bowmaster again. And Consign there would have been wild. BK with the 33 months. Thank you. Welcome back. I think we're going to get this one. Outside of like crazy Hurkyl's Recall or something like that. I don't know if did we show them Airship last game? I think we won with the combo. Can't remember. Consign would still have you 9. I think it would have counted 2 of them, so I would have had 8 though. All right, opponent, you got your Aether Spell Bomb. You can get rid of 2 of my 10 airships. Tank concede. I'm gonna queue up the 4-1 prediction. Maybe would have won round 1 if we were in on this sideboard plan. It was the same matchup. All right, I'm going to do the 4-1 prediction. Now, if we somehow lose this game, the 4-1 prediction is a failure, but I'm just going to get it fired up here for this game and the next one. It would be that we are going to win this game, barring some kind of absurd series of events. Okay, they have a airship. They can kill 2. I'm going to go ahead and crew an airship with my airship here. They're killing 2 of my 10. And I guess if they kill 1 more with Aether Spellbomb, let's see. Yeah, then my airships are offline for a second. Easiest no of my life. All right, we'll see. Good feedback. If you play airship on paper, what would I choose for the airship tokens? I don't know. I might print some out. See if RK Post has any. Okay, so the interface is a little bit weird on Magic Online. I know I just crewed one, but the easiest way to tell which ones have been crewed and have been not are to like respond with this trigger on the stack. So you can see which one has the ability. Otherwise, there's no way to tell which ones have crewed and which ones haven't. Yeah, there are some copy token stuff. That's true. So we are still attacking for lethal after all this next turn. Although they can, I guess they can chump block one of my airships with a Tamio. Okay, so this puts them to 4. So now a single airship hitting them is lethal. Oh, airship art cards. Yeah, that would be really cool. I wonder if those are worth more than normal art cards because of that. They have 2 cards in their hand. If they can somehow kill me with the steel cutters through 4/4/4 blockers, I'll be really impressed with 2 cards in their hand. Don't really see much reason to. I guess I do want to have the ability to be Phoenix King next turn. Let's block like this. We still have lethal in play, and if somehow something goes wrong, we get to trigger more airships. We draw Cauldron, which does nothing, and they concede because they're dead on board. All right, or the 4-1. I think we'll keep it. We already did the prediction. I love Cauldron, but it does kind of suck that it's inherently weak to like every kind of interaction. Yeah, kind of. I think you can play around removal, I think, pretty well usually, and then it's once it's in play, it's strong against discard for whatever that's worth. There are airship art cards, nice. $4 each seems high. Okay, we drew the Buried Alive, which isn't quite enough to let me go off next turn. But I think we're going to be doing pretty good against Blood Crypt. Goyf, although, I mean, if this is Hollow 1, anything can happen. This is either Hollow 1 or some kind of... Okay, Mountain is more likely to be Hollow 1. Okay, Scory Skill Cutter, less likely. And then they pass. Okay, so let's see what we draw. Draw another copy of Buried Alive. So let me... Oh, whoops. So I want to backup creature. I'm pretty sure we just get Asmodeus because we have the Griselbrand in our hand that we can discard. So we get Asmodeus, Fatestitcher, and then Skirge Familiar. And then we're going to target the Familiar now. and then pass the turn. This way we can for sure get the Griselbrand in the yard. You should play one Narcomoeba in case you don't have a creature when you're buried alive. Oh wait, we were playing it. I guess we cut it. Yeah, I guess we did end up cutting it. We did have it. It might be good. Might be good. I just wasn't really sure. It could be better than third Fatestitcher. But we did have one in the first draft, and then I wanted to keep in just to kind of see, and then we cut it. We cut it when we built the second version. But I was playing. We've played a few like Nethergoyf, Steelcutter, like Rakdos, Arcanist decks. I liked the Arcanist. What's the card? The red like Reckless Impulse. It costs 1 mana. You can only get 1 card. That card was pretty cool with Arcanist and like Arena of Glory. Okay, my opponent passes. Tank, pass. So I'm gonna unearth the Fatestitcher. Yeah, Heroes hang out, thank you. I'm going to Cauldron the Asmo. And we win, because there's now just not really a reasonable way for them to respond to stuff. Let's go ahead and discard Griselbrand, and then, because we might want to Cauldron the Griselbrand, but then go ahead and draw 7. But if they go ahead and use another removal spell, unlike the Greedy Freebooter, then I'm going to want to start using the Fatestitcher to draw with. Yeah, not selling vacuums at the moment. Okay, so yeah, let's go ahead and let this heat resolve. Weak to every kind of interaction, says chat. All right, Cauldron the Griselbrand. So now the Fatestitcher has a counter, and okay, then they just concede. Great. Somehow familiar with the combo, I guess. Let's bring in at least the Bowmasters and the Airships. I don't know if I also want to play the Thoughtseizes. Although I don't really know what exactly how the plan looks. Yeah, I guess I'm okay to play the Thoughtseizes, just play more interactive. I don't know exactly what their deck looks like either. This seems fine. Our combo is like so fast game 1. I really like that we can just pivot into this if we need to. Seems like a nightmare to sideboard against. I do like having Phyrexian Tower double Greedy Freebooter, so that either a Ooze or a Airship is going to be a fast win. Although it looks like my opponent's probably going to Thoughtseize the Buried Alive. All right, 5 cards in their hand after they take the Buried Alive. Can maybe be the mythical hardcast Skirge Familiar game. What's the win? Frog counters on Hasty Fatestitcher? You just cast a big Ballista, or you cast Necrotic Ooze and use Frog's ability to make a bunch of counters for a big Ballista. Lava Dart? So they're Prowess with Thoughtseize and Nethergoyf. And they play another land. They got 4 cards in hand. Steel Cutter, 3 cards in hand. They have the Lava Dart if they need. They do need, it seems. Let's keep the Necrotic Ooze, I suppose. I'm going to surveil, see if we can find like an extra piece or Buried Alive, just something that's going to inform what the best move is this turn. And we don't really find that. I guess losing my treasure tokens is a pretty big cost. Let's just pass. Yeah, I haven't seen Prowess with Nethergoyf either. Maybe it's good. I mean, Goyf is a really strong card. Thanks, Baker. Welcome to the stream. Trying to get more straight to YouTube content out, but with the Cube for Charity coming up this weekend, it's going to be tough to do this week. Yeah, I've noticed an increase in Tron also. There's been definitely more Tron last like week or two. So they cling to dust my buried alive. Such a weird game. Then they play an untapped Watery Grave, and then I'm gonna go down to 12. And draw another copy of Necrotic Ooze, which I guess I'll cast. Maybe I want to cast Skirge. I guess we really want the Skirge Familiar dead for the Ooze to be good. I guess so. Who's doing Keeper Trader? What are the teams? So I'm on a team with Gabriel Nassif, Yellow Hat, Mythic Meebo, and then Young Dingo. And then there's a team of Jim Davis, Misplaced Ginger, Hogpog, and I think Caleb D. I'm pretty sure Caleb D is the other person on the team. So opponent exiles Surgical Extraction. All right, let's go to game 3. For all the marbles. Have I seen any lowering cards I'm excited about in Modern? Yeah, I can't really remember them. I remember from what I saw of the spoilers, there were already several, but I'm trying not to think about it too much because we're still not done with Avatar, and we still have about a month till Lorwyn comes out. Caleb is out. J-Bro passed away about a year ago. I'm sorry that you have to hear the news this way, but he is not with us anymore. Oh, Doomwake's taking Caleb's spot this year. All right, on the play. All right, definitely keeping this. Opponent's on the Malta 6. Malta 5. Pretty good chance I want to play Frog turn 2 because I can't actually full combo with the Buried Alive till turn 4. I guess if I draw Phyrexian Tower, we would play the or if the I guess we feel like the Greedy Freebooter can like block. Like if they play Swift Spear turn 1, then we'll probably play Cauldron this turn. Okay, so they did not. So we're gonna play the Frog. They might have Spell Pierce up too. They have like Dispute or Push or something like that. Snare. Okay. Well, I'm glad the Frog got snared and not the Cauldron. Maybe no, because if we played the Cauldron with the plans of chumping a Steel Cutter, it still doesn't quite work. Although we were drawing the tower, but they had the snare. They had the snare. So yeah, because I have 2 Buried Alives and only 1 Cauldron, I think I should be doing this turn, right? And then if Buried Alive resolves, we can win. We're playing around Snare. We're playing around Spell Pierce. We're playing around Thoughtseize this line. We're not playing around Braid or, some kind of Shatter effect very well. We could block and Cauldron Frog. I think this is also going to be fine not to. Although I guess we are 1 card. Oh, I meant to Cauldron the Frog into turn, although they tapped out. We are a card short of going off with Asmo, so we have to go off with Griselbrand. Don't really think the Freebooter being in play matters because we need to use the Fatestitcher to untap anyways. All right, so Buried Alive. Oh wait, no, we just have 3 mana, so we can go Fatestitcher, Asmo, Familiar, Ooze. No, but then we. No, it's okay because I could just discard a card. I can discard 1 card from hand. Yeah, this does work. So Asmo, Fatestitcher, Skirge Familiar. Then we get to go Unearth the Fatestitcher, Cauldron the Skirge Familiar, onto our Fatestitcher, untap the Cauldron, Cauldron the Asmodeus. Then we just discard 1 card for 1 mana, pretty good rate. Sorry, Phoenix Fleet Airship. I guess I probably just want the blue more than I want the black, although it shouldn't really matter. And draw 7. 4 Thoughtseizes. I do kind of want to see more of their deck. I guess let's cast a Thoughtseize. All right, all they can see. They won't show it. They won't show it to me. Well, good games to the chatter who said easiest doubt of their life. The believers are getting hard paid off here. I think pretty good deck. I'm glad we did another league here. I don't know what the best Cauldron build is, and so it's like we have the mono blue artifacts, we have the VIVI Cauldron, we have this build. They all have their own pros and cons. Like getting to play Necrotic Ooze, Frog, Airship is really good. The VV looting stuff is really good. The artifact plan, Crystal Skull. All of these things are very different and very powerful, despite all being like Fatestitcher Cauldron. This one's not playing Gran-Gran. You could play Gran-Gran. We had a Gran-Gran in our first draft. Not the worst chests. But I think for the most part, like the big idea with like these decks is, you know, you can have a winning record with them. They're pretty solid. We didn't break the format with them, but it's good to like work on these now and maximize them so they're ready to go when other stuff gets printed. Just like when Gran-Gran got printed, we had the VV Cauldron shell ready to go, and it was a big upgrade. And I think that deck is really good. Maybe the best of the three. Maybe the best of the three, but pretty exciting one. I don't know. I think this deck looks sweet too. Like we just 4-1'd a modern league with Asmodeus and Skirge Familiar, and honestly, like if we had figured out our sideboard plan for the like Tomio Emery Affinity deck, maybe we would have 5-0'd, like because we figured out the plan mid league and then we won the same matchup. So I think that's kind of interesting. So I'm gonna raid Gabriel Nassif today. He's gonna be participating in Cuba Charity on my team this weekend. I've got to set up the Tiltify after the stream here. So here is the schedule for the next few days. Tomorrow we are playing Phoenix Fleet Airship Yogg. I am not gonna do shit. I'm not gonna